The Case of Conditional Love and the Climate Crisis. A commentary on the links between human connection and environmental destruction. By Tamanna Sharma. I woke up to the sound of rain falling on the birch trees and rushing in full stream from the terrace drainage outlet. My first thought went to the meditation mat, now soaking wet, and I sprang up to salvage it from potential ruin. There should have been other concerns that ought to have popped up as priorities, given the sudden weather change. But all I could think about was the mat rendered useless. We are users, that's all we can think about. Stuff and its use. Think of it as an uncle questioning your choice of end quote. Useless end quote. Pets like dogs and cats over, say, a cow. There was perhaps a time on Earth when use was a wonder, and uselessness was a norm, a resting point of existence. Today, use is all that seems to matter, and wonder is lost in the void along with rest and unconditional love. The results are in front of us. The birch, on which rain is falling, has lost its population over the years due to extreme use for fuel. The Himalayan birch, or Betula utilis, useful in Latin, produces white, paper-like bark that was used in ancient times as a writing surface for Sanskrit literature manuscripts. Much of that literature is lost today, and with it, the wisdom to know better than to burn this tree in the era of electricity and heating appliances. A tree that, in its undergrowth, gives home to the most beautiful and edible flowers of rhododendron shrubs, now sold as exclusive infused teas at a cafe near you. Conditional love has ruined society, leaving generational trauma, unhealthy relationships, and a ruined climate overall. Conditional love refers to love that is given based on specific conditions or requirements being met. In other words, love may only continue if certain behaviors, actions, or expectations are fulfilled. This contrasts with unconditional love, where love is offered without any strings attached, regardless of circumstances or actions. When I wrote my first book on the climate crisis from the perspective of cognitive blind spots, biases, and fallacies, I explored all the important psychological phenomena. Why do humans behave in certain ways? Why don't we see the destruction caused by us? In the book, I went through biases in a storytelling style, hoping to lend the reader a new pair of glasses to remove these blind spots. Once you see, you can't unsee, that was the idea. Love, however, I dared not venture into at that point. Now, sitting a year and a half later, a lot has transpired. Mostly, growing awareness of conditional love, whether in parental, familial, or friendship scenarios, or the larger picture at hand. It's heartbreaking that all of us put up these walls of conditions. One may think of all the times they felt unconditional love toward their children or partners. And then slowly, one condition after another, sandcastles of ego, selfishness, and denial crop up between them, sullying the purity of bonds and intimacy. I used to love my work unconditionally at some point in my life, not too long ago. Then I changed. Now I need a certain status to go with it, a certain return, and the pleasure of bigger and bigger achievements. Conditions that erased all those small and kind acts of compassion that came with unconditionally loving my work. We alone don't make up these conditions, we do it as groups, as partners as well. We start sacrificing our unconditional love for one thing for another person or thing, until this and that both fall victim to the ruins of a conditional society. All the dry forests and flames are because we started the fire years ago with bad practices, conditional monocropping, and pure greed. We set conditions that gave preference to personal luxury over common sense. From a macro perspective to the micro-personal world, conditional love is like using land and its people until there's oil. We spill the same oil, and instead of cleaning up and taking responsibility for our own actions, we blame it on international waters, hire the best lawyers for our defense, and complain about life being unfair on our private, lonely island. Now, ideally, I should end here with go for unconditional love. If it were that easy, I would not be writing about it. I'd just go back and start doing it. We don't live in a fair world, and we don't know what's really going on in someone else's head. We could start by recognizing ourselves, our demands, and the lack of love at the crossroads of the road not taken. I leave you with the poetry of Robert Frost. The road not taken. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that the passing there, had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay. In leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Somewhere ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.